So the Republican tax plan, Donald Trump's tax plan, passed the Senate in a 51-49 vote. In case you are wondering, both Manchin and Heatkamp, I think that's how you pronounce it, two hardcore corporate Dems also voted for the bill, meaning without them it would have been 49-51. So, just saying. But this bill was mostly voted on by Republicans and completely drafted by Republicans, so it is the Republican tax plan. But, okay, fine. What does the bill actually do? Why, let's just see. Now, before we begin, there was a lot of, stuff behind this bill. For instance, McConnell said that they had the votes on Friday to get it. Turns out that wasn't entirely true, and there were even some senators like Susan Collins who did not vote for this, and even tried to somewhat scale back the tax cuts, but that really didn't work. And not only that, but this is my favorite part of all of them, I am not making this up, they actually hand-wrote more on the bill. Like, the bill is, typed up and professional and all that. Well, they put in handwriting a whole bunch of amendments to the tax plan. And then forced a vote out on it. Before anyone could really read it. So, people, when they passed the bill, didn't know what was in it. And then you go on Twitter, you got people like Charles Kirk saying, this will be the greatest tax cut of all time. How do you know? No one read it. And this isn't even the first time Republicans did that tactic. They did that with the Patriot Act back in 2001. Was it 01? Yeah, it was 01. Where they just printed it off in the middle of the night, forced a vote through Congress the next day. They tried doing that with the Obamacare repeal, giving them 2 minutes to debate. So they used incredibly sneaky tactics in order to pass the bill. And this is after an entire year of them essentially just going out there screaming, I'm evil! I'm evil! Do you see how evil I am? This is the party who, just a year ago, or a little over a year ago, honestly considered electing Ted Cruz for president. Since the beginning of the 2016 election, they've just been sitting there going, or really since the 2000s, they've really just been sitting there screaming, yeah, we're evil, so what? And that's just, and they had to sneak this through Congress. Okay. But here are some basic ideas of what happened to the bill. First off, there was an amendment to the bill that was offered that would expand the child tax credit, because Republicans are still trying to hold the idea of, we're pro-family values that people really stopped caring about in 1994. Okay, that's unfair. About 2006-ish, maybe. That was rejected. As it really should have been, in my opinion. Because, that's another topic. But essentially, I think the child tax credit idea is extremely idiotic. But that's another. A provision that would have allowed parents to begin saving tax-free for college education for an unborn child has been stripped from the Senate tax bill. Because you don't want those kids saving up for college. Those are... Roy Moore said that preschools were liberal indoctrination. And, in universities, they actually have facts. And, facts are a stubborn thing. Reagan literally said that. Not only that, but the Tax Policy Center has determined this bill would add $1.2 trillion to the federal deficit over 10 years. And I thought, didn't these guys say that we should balance the budget? Marco Rubio said on the campaign trail that we need a balanced budget amendment. That's something they've been talking about for years. And, you know, now all of a sudden, no. We're going to create a bill that creates extremely... That's what they do, by the way. They do that a lot. They say, we're going to balance the budget, and then they rack up the deficit. Reagan tripled the deficit. George W. Bush got us in the highest deficit in United States history. And he came into office with a surplus. It wasn't like they had a deficit and he just expanded. There was actively a surplus of money, and he went in there and said, I'm going to spend this money. And he did that, and, he created tax rebates and gave everyone $300, basically buying people to like him. And that cost pretty much all the surplus. But these guys are going to balance the budget, and another tax bill creates another $1.2 trillion of the deficit. And here's the thing. I would absolutely love to sit here and do like a half-an-hour segment with essentially the tax bill in my hand and explain why every single new provision that they added doesn't work. But I can't because, again, they literally hand-wrote provisions the same day it was passed because they forced the vote through. And no one has read the bill yet, so we don't even really know what's going to happen. Just the mind of these people. I'm Ephrom, and good night.